So here's a headline that a couple of days ago caught my eye. And it basically, part of it read, Trump says he will always and forever be a champion for the American people. And this was released in kind of like the first official statement from his newly opened office of the former president. I mean, let's be quite clear about this. Trump has never been a champion for the American people, or at least let me rephrase that. He's never been a champion for all of the American people, or even the majority of the American people. He hasn't even won an election by a majority of votes. He won it by electoral college votes, which is different. He has been, and he will continue to be, I think for a long time to come yet, a champion and a poster child for a significant number of American people, mainly Republican Party congressmen and their supporters. And that is only because through his his lies and his fear-mongering and his hate, they help him fulfill his own goals and agenda. A champion for all of the American people would never downplay the seriousness of the pandemic and hide that from us, when he full well knew back in March of last year how serious it was going to be. And this isn't hearsay. This is substantiated by his own words caught on audio tape. And then knowing that, he downplays it as a Democrat hoax that will magically disappear after the November the 3rd presidential election. Unconscionable. Over 430,000 American lives are lost, an unknown number of which could have been avoided had he responded to the crisis properly. And to put that number of deaths in perspective, it exceeds the total number of American combat casualties in both Europe and the Pacific in 3.5 years during World War II. A champion for all of the American people, or even the majority of them, would not threaten to withhold federal financial aid from states with Democrat governors for enacting COVID lockdowns and twisting that into kind of like a misrepresentation that all that Democrats want to do is violate your rights, whilst never saying a single effing word against the states with Republican governors when they enacted similar COVID lockdown restrictions. I mean, let alone threaten to withhold federal funds from them, right? I mean, a champion for all or a majority of the American people, he doesn't make comments months ahead of the presidential election saying that the only way he will lose is if the election is rigged, because that's just preemptively setting it up to have this conflict that we have right now in the event that he did lose. And then with zero credible evidence, again, 59 failed lawsuits, I keep repeating that, confirming there is zero credible evidence, and he doubles down on his unsubstantiated claims when he loses and claiming there was widespread election fraud. He still hasn't conceded the election. Nor would they, through daily accusations of this widespread voter fraud, completely erode confidence in our constitutional election process, incite a violent riot, or at least help to, and the storming of the US Capitol building in an attempt to overthrow the voices of over 80 million Americans who voted against him. This is not a champion of the people. Enough said.